Although Qin Bingxue has stayed up all night, so many things have been through again. He was already physically and mentally exhausted, but Chen Yuan is still interrogating. He cared about whether Chen Yuan would be okay. The police officer looked at Chen Yuan's profile. The case is not defeated. It's weird. The captain not only has to be at the intersection alone, it also made me turn off the monitor and think about it. The officer couldn't help but show a meaningful expression. Secretly guessed, I don't think I want this kid to plug in the door. Meanwhile, members who were taken to a separate interrogation room. By this time, he was yawning. He couldn't help but say in his heart, what the hell is this Chu Yuma going to do? I still have to test the broken record. Am I holding a grudge against me saying that he is about green tea? Just when Chen Yuan was guessing, the door of Shan Xin City was suddenly opened. I saw Chu Yuma carrying a breakfast, handed it to Chen Yuan. Let's eat something first. And Chen Yuan, whose stomach was already hungry, directly began to gobble up. Meantime, he was a little surprised that he didn't think you were actually a police officer, still a captain. And in silence, I watched the man in front of him eat the breakfast he bought. It tastes so good. I immediately felt happy in my heart. But he said very silently, there are so many things you can't think of. As soon as the words fell, the system immediately remembered the prompt sound. Opinion +5. Current opinion is 50. Chen Yuan heard the system prompt. I can't help but feel a little speechless. Eating breakfast can also increase favorability. There must be something wrong with this woman. Let's leave as soon as you're done eating. Come to think of this. Chen Yin immediately waved the handcuffs in his hand. He spoke again. Officer Chu, I'm a victim of this. It's not good for me to roast like this. When will I leave? Chu Yuma Wanyan immediately squinted his eyes, and then pasted it to Chen Yuan. You don't want to ask. Do you want to stay with me? You're a victim, right? But you've also killed people. Speaking of which, Chu Yuma suddenly pinched Chen Yuan's chin. Again, he said, yes. What is the relationship between that Qin Bingxue and you? Seeing this, Chen Yuan hurriedly spread his hands. And then let's be honest, it doesn't matter. He and I are from the same school. He represented Carp Technology yesterday. Want to get me financing? Then he followed me into the taxi. Who knew that this kind of thing had just happened? Chu Yuma suddenly grabbed Chen Yuan's arm. Keep him in control. Just when Chen Yuan looked confused, Chu Yuma suddenly stretched out his other hand, directly tore off his shirt. Suddenly, the white shirt on Chen Yan's body was torn, reveal all kinds of bruises and wounds inside. Chen Yan frowned. Chao Chu Yuma asked Captain Dao Chu, what do you mean? It's coming. It's coming. Chu Yuma was finally going to make a move on Chen Yuan. Just now, Chu Yuma suddenly moved his hands up and down, directly ripped Chen Yuan's shirt open, and Chen Yuan immediately said with a displeased face, what does Chu landscape mean? Just when Chen Yuan looked confused, Chu Yuma suddenly took out a medicine box. Then Chu Yuma looked at the wound on Chen Yuan's body. I don't remember it. What does it mean? I'm going to give you the medicine. One hit 8. You don't look at what you're hurting anymore. Chen Yuan was stunned when he heard this. He didn't expect that. Chu Yuma would actually take the initiative to help himself take medicine. And Chu Yuma saw Chen Yuan showing such an expression. I was immediately angry at what your expression was. You're a big man. Will I still eat tofu? Chen Yuan said again and again, and he was the first to say that, Officer Chu. Or I'll do it myself. You're busy with business. Another busy all-nighter. It should be tiring. I'll just deal with this little injury myself. But Chu Yuma didn't pay attention to him. Instead, just pick up a cotton swab and start cleaning the wound. Chen Yuan couldn't help but say secretly in his heart, boys must protect themselves outside. Otherwise, I will encounter this kind of overlord who is the Bao. It's dangerous. That's when it happened. Chu Yuma suddenly. The amorous Chen Yuan rolled his eyes. I'm not busy. You boys are careless. What to do in case the wound becomes infected? Be obedient and don't move. Hearing this, Chen Yuan's bones suddenly crisped. I almost fell on the spot. He immediately became alert. Chen Yuan knows the most common tricks of girls. It's to shush you first. Care. Immerse yourself in his gentle country. Suddenly, Chen Yuan secretly said in his heart that something was wrong. This woman wants to trick labor and management. Chen Yuan knew that once he fell in. Wait for your own heart. When he turned his head to chase him, he will begin to refuse to reciprocate. Immovable as a mountain. Blowing hot and cold. Like flying a kite. If you retreat, he will advance. If you advance, he will retreat. Let your mind explode. In the end, step by step, the initiative was lost. Be a licking dog. And now, Chen Ren and Zai were at the end of the day, and they had known each other for less than a day. The reason why this woman cares so much about Chen Ren. It is certain that there is a lot of temptation. Immediately, Chen Yuan secretly made a decision in his heart. I won't fall for him, and not to make such low-level mistakes. After being in MO to bandage the wound, Chen Yuan immediately tidied up his clothes. Officer at the opening. I think it's better to keep a little distance. We've only known each other for less than a day. Please respect yourself. Wan Yin Chu Yuma suddenly exploded. After I bandaged him myself, there was no thanks. Instead, let yourself be self-respecting. He hurriedly said, what are you doing? People just see you hurt. I'm just going to bandage your wounds. Why are you still angry? And Chen Yuan responded indifferently and said I didn't die. Actually, I already have someone I like in my heart. I just don't want you to misunderstand me. Immediately afterwards, Chen Yuan put on an affectionate look. Again, say thank you. Chu Jingjing, thank you for bandaging my wounds. You're a very good girl. If we had met earlier, I may be bold in pursuing you, but life doesn't have so many ifs. If I'm a midnight person, you're going to hate me too, aren't you? Seeing Chen Yuan's frank appearance, Chu Yuma couldn't help but secretly suppress it in his heart. Didn't expect this bohemian guy. Is still a dedicated warrior of pure love. Yesterday's dinner. Chu Yuma liked Chen Yuan a little. Now that I've learned about it, I'm even more like. Even if you don't sleep all night, Chen Yuan is still in good spirits. Around 12 noon, Chen Yuan Kai walked out of the police station. And Chu Yuma. He silently watched the back of Chen Yuan leaving upstairs. After this contact, he felt that he knew Chen Yuan better. He wanted to get away more and more now. He couldn't help but secretly say in his heart, we have a long way to go. I didn't try to open my door. Such a superb man. How could I possibly let those bad women get their hands on it? As for Qin Bingxue, Chun Yin listened to Chu Yuma say. He had already been let go. But actually, Qin Bingxue waited at the police station for 2 hours. Just wait until you fall asleep. And Qin Yin soon took a taxi. Arrive at the Riverview Villa community. He couldn't help but shake his head and said for a day and a night. It's really exhausting. I searched all of them. Come to Chairman Zhao's place to take a shower and get some sleep. But Chen Yuan had just walked into the villa. I heard Zhao Yuqi's room. There was the sound of running water in the bathroom. Chen Yuan's heart. All of a sudden, he began to plop and jump. He couldn't help but secretly say to Chairman Zhao in his heart, is this point actually at home? Through the bathroom glass door. All of them are vaguely able. I saw a graceful woman in the middle of it. Bathe. He immediately felt a little restless in his body. Chairman Zhao, you test me with this. You believe in my determination too much. It's coming. It's coming. Zhao Yuqi's best friend was actually seen by Chen Yuan as soon as he appeared. Just now, after Chen Yuan came out of the police station, came to Zhao Yuqi's villa to take a bath. But Chen Yuan just came to the bathroom. I can vaguely see a body. A graceful woman. Taking a bath. Chen Yuan immediately felt that his body was a little restless. The blood boiled. She couldn't help but think to herself, do you want to go in? Chairman Zhao probably won't mind. Immediately, Chen Yuan's face was flushed. Finally, Nia came to the door of the bathroom. But he didn't wait for him to push the door. The bathroom door slammed open. I saw that he was quite good-looking. And a girl wrapped in a bath towel, while wiping his wet hair with a towel. He said, Yuchi, this bathroom in your house is almost as big as mine, but it's really comfortable. But when the girl saw the dust far away, the whole person stiffened. And Chen Yuan was also so directly petrified on the spot. Immediately afterwards, the girl looked at the dust with a trembling body, and then it kept backing away. A scream followed. Loud in the sky. Hooligans, help. Someone is coming. Chen Yuan said secretly in his heart angrily. Who is this woman? How to be at Chairman Zhao's house? After a while, the door of the villa was opened. Zhao Yuqi is finally back. Qian Mingming heard the movement. Hurriedly threw herself into Zhao Yuqi's arms and begged for help from Yuqi. You're finally back, and there's a hooligan here. I can't get married. It's all gone. Kiki, you're going to call the shots on me. Zhao Yuqi hurriedly reassured Mingming, don't cry. It's all a misunderstanding. Qian Mingming finally stopped crying. Chen Yuan walked directly to the bathroom. At the same time, they spoke together. You can help me explain. I'll go take a shower first. As Zhao Yuqi's best friend, Qian Mingming heard the voice. Immediately, he angrily said to Chen Yuan that he had misunderstood a fart. The man was a hooligan. I didn't even apologize when I saw my body. What does it have to do with you? And Zhao Yuqi originally wanted to say that Chen Yuan was his boyfriend, but Chen Yuan hasn't confessed to him until now. He had no choice but to stick to the hard road. He's a friend of mine. Qian Mingming saw Zhao Yuqi's expression. I knew that it must not be that simple. He couldn't help frowning slightly. In my heart, I secretly said that something was wrong. Something is very wrong. It's the first time Kiki has been so protective of a man. Come to think of this. Qian Nanongyang couldn't help but secretly guess in his heart. Could it be that Kiki has a leg with him? Immediately, the front Ming was fierce. Grab Zhao Yuqi's shoulders. Admonished to Marty. I'm going to persuade you. You're a little rich woman now. Don't hang out with people at the bottom. It's very falling. Zhao Yuqi heard that it was not because of what was right. Who's the bottom of the story? Seeing Zhao Yuqi's bewildered look, Qian Mingming is getting more and more angry. Who else can it be? I was tired just now. Becky, you see you live in a big house now. I also made so much money as an anchor. It's already an elite. How can his ordinary man be worthy of your literary language? Zhao Yuqi immediately understood that Qian Mingming was talking about Chen Yuan. He hurriedly said, Do you say Chen Yuan? Chen Yuanren is very good. And he's really good. Not what you think. He couldn't help but secretly say help in his heart. When you invite Ming to your house, vanity at the mercy of the moment. Let him think that this villa was really bought by me. Qian Mingming heard this, immediately split his head and covered his face, and reprimanded the excellent. This society is all about resources and context. Can his excellence turn into money? You're still young. It's important to take advantage of the opportunity to choose a mate. After speaking, Qian Mingming immediately changed her face. Speaking again about yesterday's auction, there is a rich man who directly spent 500 million. Take a picture of the piano. I guess I want to give it to my sweetheart. How romantic. This is the kind of man you're looking for. Speaking of which, Qian Mingming couldn't help but show expression. Opened his mouth to say such a romantic man. It's my heartstrings. It's my heavenly dish. And yet at this moment, outside the courtyard of the garden villa, suddenly, a doorbell rang. At the same time, there was a shout of hello. Is it Ms. Zhao Yuqi? Your checked items have arrived. Please check the acceptance. Then Zhao Yuqi opened the door. Then start signing for it. Qian Mingming on the side couldn't help but feel a little depressed to Chi-Chi. What are you shopping online? And Zhao Yuqi said indifferently. Chen Yin said yesterday that she would give me a gift. It looks like a piano. Wan Yin Qian Mingming immediately walked towards the outside of the house. At the same time, he said angrily to the piano. I'd like to see. What piano can this weak chicken give Kiki? Don't be a piano model. Seeing this, Zhao Yuqi couldn't help frowning and said cutely. Don't say that again. I'm angry. Then Zhao Yuqi walked out of the door. It is completely different from the usual signature courier. I saw a helicopter overhead in charge of escorting. After coming to the sky above the villa, constantly making sounds, I'm a whole pipe. The living creatures are in place. There were no anomalies at the scene. And there's more than just one delivery worker. It's a full 8. And the heavily armed kind. Each one is tall. It's cold to look at. See this? Qian Mingming and Zhao Yuqi couldn't help but be in their hearts. The same thought came to mind. It's just a piano for the slot. Do you need such a big battle? Is this piano what Qin Shi Huang talked about? It's coming. It's coming. Chen Yuan just took a shower and bound again. A new object. Just now. Heavily armed rhyming troops. The piano that Chen Yuan photographed. It was transported outside the villa. Subsequently, the staff took that expensive piano to move into the hall of the villa. Zhao Yuqi looked at the covered piano. I can't help but guess. Chen Yuan, what kind of piano did you buy? It's security and it's checking myself. I feel like I've received a national treasure. And Qian Mingming is just a trick in the cold and mysterious. It's just an actor from the tree shop. The more unconfident the man is about the gift, will put so much effort into packaging. Immediately afterwards, Qian Mingming walked to the piano. Directly pick up the red cloth, colleague. I want to see what it is. At the moment when the red cloth was lifted, a dazzling burst of light shot out immediately. Qian Mingming, who was almost blinded by Liang, hurriedly covered his eyes and shouted, what the hell? It's so shiny. I saw a piano made of pure crystal. In the light of the sun, it constantly reflects a dazzling light. The appearance can be described as explosive. Looking at the sparkling crystal piano, Zhao Yuqi couldn't help but admire. Is this a piano made of crystal? It's beautiful. And the former Mingming hurriedly came to the piano, while tapping, while secretly saying in his heart, this whole piece of crystal makes the piano. How much does it cost? Could it be that guy a chorus just now? Did I look away? But Qian Mingming quickly dismissed the idea. Impossible. How can there be such a sloppy refrain? It doesn't look like the security guard downstairs in my house. That's when it happened. Villa TV. Suddenly a clip of last night's charity auction was broadcast. Yesterday, the Seoul charity dinner was successfully held. Celebrities gather. Moreover, there was also a shocking scene at the auction. I'm a mysterious local tyrant who always appears. How refers to 500 million to shoot a crystal piano. Broke the previous record of the auction company. Second still looks down on Chen Yuan's Qian Mingming. After hearing that this piano is worth 500 million, immediately shocked to the point of petrification on the spot. And Zhao Yuqi saw Qian Mingming. Finally understood Chen Yuan's strength. Immediately said in a good mood, I told you earlier. Chen Yuan is very good. I'm not just talking about his wealth. What I value more is his character and interiority. That's when it happened. Chen Yuan looked at the piano that had just arrived after taking a shower. Suddenly he said, did the piano arrive so quickly? After revealing the price of the piano, the two felt that Chen Yuan appeared. A smell of male hormones suddenly swept the hall. Seeing that the two did not speak, Chen Yuan spoke again. I thought it would be tomorrow. It's pretty fast. Looked at Chen Yuan's figure. Qian Mingming couldn't help but call him so handsome in his heart. And after Zhao Yuqi saw Chen Yuan go downstairs, hurriedly said, thank you, Chen Yuan. I love this gift. It's just too precious. Chen Yuan shook his head, smiled lightly. How can you be worthy of you if it is not valuable? You are a priceless treasure to my heart. Then Chen Yuan took out his mobile phone and looked at the time. Calculate the time in the secret way in your heart. It's time to check out the little fat man's office building. Immediately, he said yes. I'm going to go out and talk about business in a moment. Are you going with me? Zhao Yuqi did not answer. It's looking towards the front of Mingming. At the same time, he secretly said in his heart, even if Mingming is my best friend, it doesn't seem good to leave her alone at home. Immediately, Zhao Yuqi shook her head and refused to apologize. I can't go with you. Today my girlfriend came to accompany me. I can't be a woman who forgets her friends. Chen Yuan didn't be a man anymore. Walked straight out of the villa and outside. And yet at this moment, the system suddenly remembered the prompt. The dog-licking relationship is successfully bound. Bind object before the alliance. Current opinion is 2. Immediately, Chen Yuan looked at it. Looking at the system panel, I secretly forgot my friends in my heart. Chairman Zhao, you are really stupid and sweet. Treat this green tea as a friend. Thinking of this, Chen Yuan couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. A smug smile was revealed. He's thinking about your man right now. Me at the same time. Zhao Yuqi is excitedly playing the new piano. At the same time, he said cutely. You see, the tone is really good. And Ming Ming looked out the door. In my heart, I secretly said that there is such a rich rate ratio. It would be nice if it were my boyfriend. Blew up. Uncle Lin agreed to meet Chen Yuan outside. But it was shattered again, and the 3 views were just now. Chen Yuan was accidentally bound before and after. I called to invite. Xiao Ruoyu accompanied herself to see the office building. And Xiao Ruoyu, who came to Chu River Han Street alone, die without anger. Chen Yuan has not seen anyone for so many days. As soon as he contacted me, he asked me to come out and talk to him about business. Immediately, Xiao Ruoyu was dissatisfied. I can't imagine the first time I skipped class. It's actually for men. Talk about business. I was even asked to come by myself. Immediately after being angry, Xiao Ruoyu recalled that night. I blamed Chen Yuan for the scene. Immediately, he secretly guessed in his heart. It feels like he's been cold to me lately. Is it because you didn't get me that night? Come to think of this. Xiao Ruoyu's heart. I vaguely felt a little uncomfortable. Suddenly, he was so angry that this is the nature of men. Meanwhile, the system suddenly remembered the prompt. Xiao Ruoyu's favorability is reduced by 1. Current opinion is 95. Chen Yingwen suddenly fell into a groove. What's the matter? Why did you lower your favorability? And Xiao Ruoyu urged with anger on her face. Is it to negotiate business? Let's go, Chen Yuan. When Shang said secretly in his heart. I just asked him to meet. No problem. Immediately, Chen Yuan hurriedly began to carefully analyze the situation. Is it because I didn't pick him up? A woman's thoughts. Sometimes it's too inexplicable. Immediately afterwards, Chen Yuan was directly domineering. Hold Xiao Ruoyu's hand. He didn't say why. I didn't ask Xiao Ruoyu's opinion. Go directly to Jin Mao Tower. Subsequently, Chen Yuan dialed the little fat man's phone. Xiaowei. I'm almost at your office building. I'm going to trouble you to send someone down to pick me up. The whole process. Chen Yuan didn't admit his mistake to Xiao Ruoyu. Because he knows. This is the time to apologize or appease. There is no use at all. It will only encourage the other party's vexatious business. Chen Yuan knew that it was useless to talk too much. Only smashing with money is the most effective. Hit him, and had nothing to say. Smashed to the point where he doubted life. Soon, Chen Yuan was taken downstairs to the Jin Mao Tower. Generally speaking, if it is a normal retail investor to come to see the property, Zhu Xiaowei will not receive it in person. Just send someone under your staff. But today he also deliberately let his father, Zhu Hui, personally receive them together. Seeing Zhu Xiaowei fighting such a big battle, Zhu Hui was puzzled by his son. Is this Mr. Yin really so background? Is it worth our such a welcome to him? And Zhu Xiaowei stammered with confidence. Dad believed in me. I can't be wrong with a human eye. Bianzong's financial resources are amazing. We're going to buy our whole building. Zhu Hui heard this. I couldn't help but sigh with a smile. There was such a mission in Seoul. I'm going to get a taste of him today. That's when it happened. A middle-aged man who is taking Lin Shutong to familiarize himself with the environment. Suddenly depressed. What day is it? Mr. Zhu actually came down to pick up people in person. As soon as I heard this, Lin Shutong couldn't help but feel a little blindsided. Zhu is always who? Is it very plasty? The middle-aged man explained Xiao Lin seriously. You've just come to intern. Probably not. Our company is writing this whole thing. The buildings are all owned by Mr. Zhu. Speaking of which, the middle-aged man suddenly showed a look of adoration. Again, I said that although I started a company, it's also a small net worth. The annual income exceeded 10 million. But it's not worth mentioning at all in front of Mr. Zhu. Uncle Lin couldn't help but turn dark with Wang Yan. Secretly complained in his heart. Is this the world of the rich? The annual income is not as good as a dog. The next moment, Lin Shutong suddenly spotted a familiar figure. He couldn't help but look not far away. I saw Chen Yuan dressed in a suit. Meet a goddess-level beauty. Slowly walked over. Lin Shutong muttered to this person secretly. No matter how you look at it, it feels a little familiar. After seeing Chen Yuan's appearance clearly, Lin Shutong immediately found out. The man in the suit was actually an old acquaintance, Chen Yuan. Immediately he was shocked. After Chen Yuan appeared, Zhu Hui immediately shook hands politely with him. At the same time, I always say hello to the side of the road. Li Ren and Zhu Hui are the property owners of Jin Mao Tower. I've heard Quanzi introduce you a long time ago, and welcome Chen Yuan. Wen Yin hurriedly replied, Mr. Zhu, you are serious. I'm bothering you to come down in person. You're so polite. Zhu Xiaowei on the side hurriedly took Chen Yuan inside. At the same time, the overbearing side is always there. Let me introduce you to it. And Zhu Hui didn't have a good aura, Xiaowei. You go press the elevator. Let me introduce. It is estimated that it will be introduced until the afternoon. I'll do it anyway. Chen Yuanjian saw that the two were so interesting. I couldn't help but smile and said, ha. You two have a great sense of humor. See this scenario. Lin Shutong was immediately shocked on the spot. I can't even hold the documents in my hand. Although he already knew that Chen Yuan was rich. But he never thought about it. Chen Yuan was actually so awesome. Even Mr. Zhu, who owns an entire Jin Mao building. Such a big battle. The person to greet was actually Chen Yuan. It's coming. It's coming. Domineering cigarettes always by office buildings. I didn't even talk about the price. Just now. Chen Yuan took Xiao Ruoyu to Jin Mao Tower. Get ready to see the building. Then Zhu Hui began to introduce Chen Yuan. Mr. Yin. The construction of this Jin Mao Tower began in 11 years. Completed in 12 years. It has only been 9 years since Lulin. This building is currently occupied by large and small companies. There are almost more than 300 of them. There are clothing counters in the city shopping mall on the 1st to 10th floors. Cinemas, KTVs, etc. Although the entity is now in a bit of a decline. But I'm in a good location. Business is just as booming. Above the 10th floor is the office area. There are financial companies, online game companies, intermediaries, and so on. The annual venue fee is quite a bit. The more Xiao Rua listened to this matter, the more depressed he became. He frowned slightly and secretly said in his heart, it was really boring. If you're just talking about business, you can ask me out. Watching Chen Yuan only care about talking about business with others. Xiao Ruoyu couldn't help but get angrier and angrier the more she thought about it. Asked me out and ignored me. Please, I skipped class for you. You did this to me. Angry at this moment, Zhu Hui spoke patiently. Do you want? I'll take you through it one by one. But Chen Yin doesn't have this leisure. Immediately, he smiled slightly. Refused to be too busy looking at it first. Immediately afterwards, Chen Yin suddenly laughed at Ruoyu. Asked about the rain. What do you think of this building? And Xiao Ruoyu was a little absent-minded. Subconsciously replied. Very good literary language. Chen Yin immediately walked towards Zhu Huiden's filial piety. You can do it if you think it's good. I bought this building. Mr. Zhu, you can make a price for this building. The copyright is not directly protected by this lady next to me. As soon as this remark came out, Xiao Ruoyu was dumbfounded on the spot. I felt like my soul was blown up. When the guitar said in a trembling tone, give it to my mom, and Zhu Xiaowei just took a sip of drink, immediately squirted on the spot. even if it's well-informed. Zhu Hui couldn't help but exclaim, Mr. Yin, are you serious? Do you really want to buy Jin Mao and give it to this lady? And Chen Yin directly shows the strong momentum of the domineering Yin Zong. With a face full of unquestionable questions, he spoke again and said yes. As long as she likes. Nothing is a problem. Zhu Hui. When Yin immediately showed a look of amazement. I roared in my heart to buy a building and still understand. After all, Yin always has money. But billions of things are given away in the blink of an eye. It's a joke. And Xiao Ruoyu was shocked. Hurriedly and anxiously said Chen Yuan. You're kidding. It's a building. Chen Yuan posted directly to Xiao Ruoyu. Put on an affectionate look. Of course, he wasn't joking. Ruoyu bought this building. You can be a charter wife in the future. You are now the controlling owner of Shaw. Looks like a landscape. In fact, there is a lot of pressure. I don't want you to be so tired. It's good now. With this building. Regardless of Shaw. If you have a guarantee for the rest of your life. Chun Ying's domineering temperament immediately fascinated Xiao Ruoyu. He couldn't help but look at Chen Yuan's cheeks stupidly. I'm going to buy you the kind. The feeling of having to put it away is simply handsome. At this time, Xiao Ruoyu finally knew. It turned out that Chen Ren called him out. It was to give him a building. Immediately, he secretly said in his heart, Chen Ren is such a gentle and considerate man. I would blame him, and suspect him. I'm not really. It's time to change your eldest lady's temper. Immediately, the system sounded a prompt sound. Weaken and opinion +3. Current opinion rating is 98. Weakening and opinion exceeded 98 points. Bonus host enhancement points +20. This is where the host's remaining enhancement point 49 remains. Zhu Hui on the side suddenly appeared between the two. Interrupted, since the two of them have negotiated. Immediately, he paused. He spoke again. Mr. Yin, the price of this building is 2.6 billion. What do you think? Chun Yanwenyan immediately took out the system black card. At the same time, he opened his mouth and walked. Let's start with the program for 2.6 billion. As long as the formalities are completed, 2.6 billion will arrive today. The building sent by her boyfriend took off instantly, and Lin Shutong could only stand outside the crowd and silently regret it. Just now, Chen Yuan directly smashed 2.6 billion. The entire Jin Mao building was bought in full. After Chen Yuan finished swiping the card, Zhu Hui immediately happily shook Chen Yuan's hand. Open the roadside total. The settlement of the contract and property rights is completed. Your payment has also arrived. Now you are the new owner of Jin Mao Tower. And Chen Yuan put on by shouting filial piety. I'm a payer. The new owner of the building is Ms. Xiao behind me. As soon as this remark came out, the staff of the building immediately scoffed respectfully. If you are respectful, Xiao is always good. Looking at the dozens of employees in front of him, wash and scrub salute to his public body, Xiao Ruoyu couldn't help but feel a pang in her heart. Is this what it's like to be a boss? No wonder Dad stays at work all day. I don't want to go home. It's a good feeling. He's just a female college student who hasn't graduated. How did you suddenly become a big boss? This sea change. Immediately let him indulge in it. Immediately, Xiao Ruoyu raised her eyebrows. Secretly proud in my heart. This feeling of being bowed everywhere you go. It's really fascinating. Pretty cool at the same time. Uncle Lin accompanied the colleagues he had just met in the company. Come downstairs and get ready for dinner. Happened to meet Chen Yuan and others who were in Brother Jiao. He said without doubt. Why are there so many people in the mansion over there? The female colleague heard this. Immediately opened his mouth and explained that you don't know. The owner of Jin Mao Tower has changed. Now the boss is a girl in her early 20s. I heard that someone made more than 200,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 by the big outright. Xia gave it to him. It's a big deal. I didn't dare to write like this in the online article. As soon as the words fell, the female colleague suddenly found that Lin Shutong was gone. Immediately he was stunned. Where did you go? And after Lin Shutong heard this, immediately understood that it must be Chen Yuan's big stroke. He couldn't help but say in his heart, it was all supposed to be mine. It's mine. Think of the building of more than 2 billion. I actually gave it to another girl. Lin Shutong's heart suddenly twisted like a knife. It's so hateful. Chen Yuan, I must chase you back, no matter what the cost. Meanwhile, after the completion of closing, Chen Yuan took Xiao Ruoyu home by subway. And Xiao Ruoyu, I can't help but be a little confused. What about the Ferrari you usually drive? Chen Yuan couldn't help but smile kindly when he heard this. It's not fun to make up nonsense and drive a Ferrari. I want to stay with you a little longer. The subway bus is also very good. I like the feeling of being close to life. And Xiao Ruoyu, who is in a good mood, immediately laughed at the hard block. I think so too. Today is a truly meaningful day. That's when it happened. Xiao Ruoyu suddenly asked Chen Yuan, right? Chen Yuan, do you know the high hanging? Chen Yuan immediately panicked when he heard this. He couldn't help but groan in his heart. Did he find something? Don't panic. Immediately, he calmly replied, it seems to be a female star. What's the matter? And Xiao Ruoyu shook his head. Looking at the phone, he said no. It was recently that he tore up with a director named Tiger Yi. Isn't it a lot of discussion? Today the forum blew up. As soon as I heard this, Chen Yuan suddenly secretly breathed a sigh of relief. It seems to be just casual talk. Scared the hell out of me. If only he knew about me and Gao Xian. That must not explode. Immediately, Chen Yuan scratched his head. Laughing, yes. I don't care much about online things. Xiao Ruoyu nodded while swiping her phone. Hard road indeed. Now the topics on the internet are quite boring. I saw a hot search the other day. There's a stupid rich man. 500 million to shoot the crystal piano. Chen Yuan, who was critically attacked, was immediately. He asked, have you clicked in and seen it? And Xiao Ruoyu frowned. Of course not. This kind of non-nutritious news. 500 million to buy a piano. It's funny. I don't know who to send. As soon as the words fell, Xiao Ruoyu looked at Chen Yuan, who was sweating profusely. I couldn't help but wonder about Chen Yuan. Why are you sweating so much? Chen Yuan of Xinchi hurriedly answered. Maybe the subway is too hot, haha. After coming to the Hu War, Chen Yuan took Xiao Ruoyu off the subway. Then the two went their separate ways. Chen Yuan couldn't help but scolded while walking at this time. This is a subway. It's a jail sentence. Recalled Xiao Ruoyu's performance on the subway. Chen Yuan couldn't help but secretly can't resist Xiao Ruoyu in his heart. Do you know something? Deliberately tempting me. And yet at this moment, Chen Yuan's phone rang suddenly. After it is turned on, the opposite side immediately rushed to the atom. Go back to the dormitory and watch the excitement. Senior Sister Qin Bingxue. I've been standing under the south bedroom for 6 hours. I don't know who I'm waiting for. Hearing this, Chen Yuan couldn't help but feel a shock in his heart. Qin Bingxue. What is he going to do? The man threw himself into his arms in the face of Hu Daxiaoa, decisively invited him back to the bedroom with him. By just now, Kuan Yin is after separating from Xiao Ruoyu. I learned by accident. Qin Bingxue was already downstairs in the boys' dormitory. Waited 6 hours. And Qin laughed at what he was waiting for in the boys' dormitory. It soon attracted onlookers. Isn't that Sister Qin Shui? The legendary Hu Da is the first beauty. Didn't he graduate? How did it come back again? He's been standing here since the afternoon. It seems to be waiting for someone too. Who is so capable? Let Sister Qin Shui be like a Wang Fu room. At this time, Qin Bingxue was weak in heart. I didn't dare to call Zhao Yuqi at all. So he used one of the dumbest methods. That's to wait for the rabbit. After waiting for 6 hours, Qin Bingxue couldn't help but secretly say in his heart, Chen Yuan still didn't show up. What can I do now? Not long ago, he was waiting for Chen Yuan. Fell asleep at the police station. But when he woke up, Chen Yuan had already left. When the man wasn't with him, he suddenly felt empty in his heart. Insecurity. Then the demons sent the gods here. I don't know when it started. Qin Bingxue turned out to be to Chen Yuan. A hint of psychological dependence is generated. I always feel like I'm going to go up and down if I can't see him. Why exactly? Come to think of it, Qin Bingxue couldn't help but secretly say in his heart, did I fall in love with Chen Yuan? Immediately Qin Bingxue began to keep going. This horrible thought shook out. It can't be Chen Yuan, but it's Yuqi's boyfriend. Meanwhile, back to the edge of the house downstairs. After seeing Qin Bingxue, I couldn't help but secretly complain in my heart. It's really Qin Bingxue. He's not going to be here to stop me. And Qin Bingxue was constantly comforting herself. I'm definitely because of the corporate financing thing. I just came here. It must be like this. The next moment, Qin Bingxue's eyes suddenly lit up. Suddenly I found the dust squeezed out of the crowd. Then he took a step. Quickly head in front of the boys' dormitory. Walked over. He walked faster and faster. After walking a few steps, he actually ran up. Subsequently, Qin Bingxue crashed headlong into Chen Yuan's arms. Greedily buried his head in the other's chest. Seeing this, Chen Yuan couldn't help but feel a shock in his heart. It's too violent. What is he going to do? And Qin Bingxue was clinging to Chen Yuan's chest. His otherwise cold face. A smile immediately appeared. That's how it feels. Down-to-earth warmth. The feeling of being protected. Although it is rare to feel embraced by the school flower, but at least be aware of the impact. Immediately, Chen Yuan wanted to push it away. But Qin Bingxue suddenly whispered extremely softly, don't push me away. Let me hug you a little more. Just for a moment. Meanwhile, a roommate eating melon upstairs in the dormitory. My eyes are red. Old bear, give me a big mouth. Sister Qin Shui was lying in the garden cradling. It's really a garden. Did he save the galaxy in his last life? Just when all the onlookers were indignant, a thunderclap suddenly sounded in the sky. Then it started to rain. Recently, it is rainy season. It rained almost every 3 days. It's raining. The crowd of onlookers quickly began to disperse. They are looking for a place to shelter from the rain. See this scenario. Chen Yuan hurriedly said to Qin Bingxue, Sister Qin Shui, the rain was so heavy. Let's take shelter from the rain. Strange cold followed. Chen Yuan took Qin Bingxue back to Nanqing's bedroom. Although Qin Bingxue is not particularly restrained, but Lao Chao, Lao Zhou, and Lao Xiong were shocked to the point that they were dumbfounded. Chen Yuan said casually, Sister Qin Shui, you sit casually. I'll pour you a glass of water. Qin Bingxue sat on the chair very obediently. After looking at it for a while, I can't help but secretly say in my heart, is this the boys' dormitory? It's not as dirty and messy as the legend suggests. And Chen Yuan, who was pouring water, immediately surrounded by roommates. Adam, why did you bring Sister Qin Shui to the bedroom? How do you do it? And Chen Yuan hurriedly explained, you can pull it down. You think I'm going to bring him? That's when it happened. Qin Bingxue's voice suddenly came from behind Chen Yuan. Chen Yuan, you've piled up so many dirty laundry that you haven't washed. What is this? At the moment when Chen Yuan turned around, immediately embarrassing to find, Qin Bingxue was holding her underwear. The man is accompanied by the school flower. Go to Carp Technology to negotiate financing. But I didn't expect to enter the door yet. I met another familiar figure. Just now, Qin Bingxue, because of heavy rain, forced to stay in the boys' dormitory until the night. So it stopped. The thought of myself just actually took Chen Yuan's underwear. He couldn't help but secretly say in his heart that it was too embarrassing. I was carrying his one just now. I really want to dig a hole and drill down. And Chen Yuan came to the balcony. After reaching out and feeling it, suddenly, he said that the rain had stopped. Senior Sister Qin, I'll send you home. After walking out of the Nanqing dormitory building, Chen Yuan suddenly opened his mouth and said Senior Sister Qin came to me this time. Is it for the financing thing? Actually, You can just give me a call and say it. As soon as I heard this, Qin Bingxue immediately muttered secretly in her heart. Financing is right. I'm here for financing. I'm looking for you for this. Could it be something else? Subsequently, Qin Bingxue said with some embarrassment, but I don't have your contact information. Chen Yuan, can you add me? Wenyan Chun is far from meeting. Lu complained strangely in her heart. That's because of this. Waited for me downstairs for 6 hours. It's the 21st century. There are still such honest people. It happened to be the house rented by Qin Bingxue. It is in the Chen Yuan community near the school. Not far and less than 10 minutes walk. And Chen Yuan simply took out his mobile phone. Then open your friend QR code. Swept it for Qin Bingxue. Looked at Qin Bingshue's somewhat ruddy cheeks. Chen Yuan couldn't help but say goodbye. So that you can find me at any time. And Qin Bingxue, who was added to Chen Yuan. When Yin was immediately happy, is it true? Can I find you at any time? Speaking of which, Qin Bingxue suddenly explained vividly. I mean, something about financing. Can I find you at any time? And Chen Yuan simply turned around. You can rest assured about financing things. Tomorrow morning, you can take me to Carp Technology for an investigation. I'll go first. Looked at the figure of Chen Yuan leaving. Qin Bingxue couldn't help but secretly say in her heart, I'm like this. Is it a bad woman? But just stay close to her. I really felt warm and relieved. Then Qin Bingxue suddenly became sad. But he's someone else's boyfriend after all. If Marjia knew, what would he think of me? Early the next morning, Quadrillion met with Qin Bingxue again. As promised, I went with him to the Carp Technology Company for inspection. Just as the two of them were heading to the Carp Company, Chen Yuan suddenly received a message from Xiao Ruoyu. I'm going to collect rent on the first day today. I'm a little nervous. Chen Yuan, can you accompany me? However, Chen Yuan simply refused. I saw Chen Yuan typing rapidly. Qin Bingxue frowned without frowning. I asked which woman I had such a good chat with. It's not Marty. Looked at Qin Bingxue, who was completely different from yesterday. Chen couldn't help but be surprised. In my heart, I can't secretly make enemies. I've provoked him again. It's only one night. It's back to that moody coffin face. You can't be a split personality, will you? And Qin Bingxue could only force himself at this time. We'll be right. Chanren cut off those unrealistic ideas. No matter how obsessed he is, his sense of security. He's someone else's boyfriend too. I can't be a third party who destroys other people's feelings. Not to mention, there's more than one woman around this guy. Then Qin Bingxue picked up the phone. Slapped the boss on the other end of the phone. There are still 10 minutes to get to the good boss. I'll take notice. It was about 10 o'clock. The taxi they were in quickly stopped. Chen Yuan didn't look at the route at first. When I got off the bus, I realized that this place was a little familiar. He looked at the building in front of him. I can't help but be a little confused. He never expected it. The Carp Technology Company actually worked in the Jinmao Tower. Chen Yuan couldn't help but ask a little speechlessly. The company won't be in this building. Qin Bingxue was a little inexplicable. Any questions? As soon as I heard this, Chen Yuan's face immediately pulled his crotch. He couldn't help but secretly say something bad in his heart. So many office buildings in Seoul. Why is it here? It's also too coincidental. If you hit Ruoyu, it's over. After coming to the elevator door, Chen Yuan couldn't help but glance at the west with a weak heart. After making sure that Xiao Ruoyu was not found, I can't help but be in the dark that the enemy can't be reached. It shouldn't be such a coincidence. Chen Yuan, who has done psychological construction. I simply press the elevator. It can be done at the moment when the elevator door opens. A familiar figure walked out of his face, followed by Xiao Ruoyu's slightly surprised voice came out, Chen Yuan. Why are you here? Immediately, Xiao Ruoyu took a look. Qin Bingxue beside Chen Yuan. Then he spoke again. Didn't you say something happened this morning? Overturned. Overturned. Chen Yan's two school flower objects actually met. Just now. Chen Yan and Qin Bingxue came to the Jinmao Tower. Prepare to negotiate financing. I didn't expect it. Unexpectedly met Xiao Ruoyu, who came to collect rent. Chen Yuan stood between the two beauties. How could his mentality and language explosion be so bloody? This one can also be bumped into. Chen Yuan was panicking now. But he knew that he must not panic at this time. Be calm. And there must be no manifestation of any mood. Then Chen Yuan introduced Ruoyu to Xiao Ruoyu. Let me introduce you to it. This is Qin Bingxue, former student union president of our Hu University. He is currently working at Carp Technology. I'm here this time. It's to negotiate cooperation with their company. Subsequently, Chen Yuan turned his head and introduced to Qin Bingxue again. Sister Qin Shui, this is Xiao Ruoyu. My high school classmates. He is now the owner of Jin Mao Tower. This building is his. Chen Yuan's introduction. Immediately, Qin Bingxue was secretly surprised. The owner of Jin Mao Tower is so young. It's so rich. The rent of this building must be hundreds of millions a year. Come to think of this. Qin Bingxue frowned slightly. In my heart, I secretly said that I was rich and beautiful. Is still Chen Yuan's high school classmate. The relationship between them is unusual. Qin Bingxue put Xiao Ruoyu. After looking around all over his body, hurriedly stretched out his hand and said hello. I'm Qin Bingxue. Nice to meet you. And weakened at this time. The expression on his face was visibly unnatural. Although Chen Yuan behaved very calmly. It looks like he's here to talk about business. But he still felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. But Xiao Ruoyu still politely shook hands with Qin Bingxue. But the air was filled with the smell of gunpowder. Xiao Ruoyu looked at Qin Bingxue. I can't help but secretly say in my heart. Bring such a beautiful sister Shui to talk about business. Chen Yuan, you can deceive the ghost. I know that rich men are spoiled. But no matter how blatantly you are, you can't be so blatant. Immediately, Xiao Ruoyu looked at Chen Yuan angrily. I secretly said in my heart, I hope you will accompany me to collect rent, so I will not be free. It's free to talk about business with a beautiful senior. Chen Yuan, I'm not done with you. That's when it happened. Suddenly there was a clanging sound from the elevator. Finally arrived at the level of Carp Technology. Immediately, Qin Bingxue took the lead in getting out of the elevator. At the same time, he said Chen Yuan. Our company has arrived. I'll go talk to the boss first. You wait first. At this time, Qin Bingxue suddenly felt a little gloating. Let you Chen Yuan flirt with girls everywhere. It's overturned. He deserves it. Facing Xiao Ruoyu alone, who was already angry. Suddenly there was some despair. After Qin Bingxue walked into the office, Chen Yuan suddenly scratched his head. Good filial piety. If it rains, I have it. I'll tell you. Seeing Chen Yuan, he looked ready to explain. Xiao Ruoyu immediately folded her arms. Put on a posture of being reasonable. Speak. At this time, he couldn't help but secretly complain in his heart. Now that I think about it, I apologize. It's too late. But Chen Yuan suddenly approached Xiao Ruoyu. The father whispered in his ear to remind Ruoyu. You must be careful of this Qin Bingxue later. Xiao Ruoyu heard this. I can't help but feel a little confused why. Chen Yuan suddenly put on a serious look. Advised. He was notoriously gay in our school, specializing in finding beautiful girls. If you don't believe me, you can ask for it yourself. I'm afraid he'll probably bend you. Weakened and immediately shocked the real fake. And Chen Yuan's face was so firm that of course it was true. You believe that I am at this time? Qin Bingxue suddenly came to the two. Interrupted Chen Yuan. Let's go inside. Our boss is waiting for you in the conference room. Chen Yanwenqing followed Qin Bingxue inside. At the same time, he did not forget to turn around. I went to their company to talk about the project. Have time to eat together at noon. And Xiao Ruoyu looked at the two who left. He didn't believe it at all. Such a beautiful girl. It turned out to be Lala. Immediately, he secretly decided. The president of the Hu Student Union is Lala. I'll have to find someone to confirm. Come to think of this. Qin Bingxue suddenly had a flash of inspiration. I secretly said in my heart, I remember that someone chased me for a long time. The senior who was blocked by me in the end. It seems to be in Huda. What is it called, Chen Yuan or Li Yang? I asked him. The man went to inspect the company and didn't even look at the financial report, and also took the initiative to increase the valuation and send money to the other party. Just now, Chen Yuan, who almost overturned, not only did not have a weak heart. Instead, he asked Xiao Ruoyu not to get close to Qin Bingxue, and also said that Qin Bingxue was Lala's business. Said that he was afraid that Xiao Ruoyu would be bent by him. And Xiao Ruoyu, in order to test what the members said, whether it's true or not, he made a phone call to Li Yang. Li Yang saw the goddess who had always haunted him. Xiao Ruoyu actually took the initiative to call herself. He was immediately excited. I'm not dreaming. Xiao Ruoyu actually took the initiative to call me. Am I going to fight back? Immediately, Li Yang hurriedly answered the phone. Then he asked Dao Xiao. You asked Qin Bingxue. Of course I do. Speaking of senior sister Qin, she is also a poor person. You may not know that he was kidnapped as a child. Hence the change in temperament. Begin to become uninhibited. He is extremely defensive against all boys. Speaking of which, Li Yang immediately described it in a voice. Senior sister Qin is extremely hateful and disgusted with men. Since then, he became a homosexual. I only like girls and don't like boys. There are several girls in our school. He been it all. The student council officer he promoted. Almost all of them are girls. The entire student council is his harem. After listening, Xiao Ruoyu suddenly became excited. It's true. Chen Yuan didn't lie to me. It seems that he really has nothing to do with Qin Bingxue. As soon as I heard Chen Yuan's name, Li Yang's face suddenly changed and he said anxiously, You said Chen Yuan. Classmate Xiao, why did you mention Chen Yuan? But Xiao Ruoyu didn't continue to ignore him. Instead, leave a thank you Li Yang. Bye-bye and then hung up. Li Yang immediately sensed that something was wrong, when the guitar hurriedly sent a frantic message. And it's hard to do. Don't. Chen Yuan, this bitch, is with classmate Xiao. No way. I want Xiao to recognize his true colors. But next, Li Yang suddenly found out. The message he sent to Xiao Ruoyu. All display an exclamation point. I can't send it at all. He has been blocked by Xiao Ruoyu. And Xiao Ruoyu, after confirming that what the members say is true, immediately, his brows relaxed, and he secretly couldn't reach the enemy. It seems that Chen Yuan did not lie to me. Immediately afterwards, Xiao Ruoyu blocked Li Yang. Pressed down at the same time. It's this Li Yang. Behind the scenes, the girl gossiped so happily. Probably not a good person. It's better to block the two ends. Just when Xiao Ruoyu and Li Yang were on the phone, Yu Manqing, the boss of Carp Technology, was facing Chen Yuan. Endless introductions. Weili was launched from 2018 to the present. In just 3 years, it has 30 million users. Our daily active data is also around 5 million. This is the result of all internet startups. It's also among the best. We'll be rolling out more technologies in the future to revolutionize the industry, gain a higher market share. And Chen Yuan dozed off when he heard it. He couldn't help but secretly complain that he was bored. I was sleepy to hear. He said something he didn't understand. Yu Manqing is a standard strong woman. Just when he was passionately explaining to Chen Yuan. But Chen Yuan interrupted a little impatiently. I know what Mr. Yu said. Quote the price yourself. How much do you think your company is worth? Yu Manqing immediately squinted when she heard this. Chen Yuan's painting style. Yu Manqing felt that she was really a little overwhelmed. Yu Manqing couldn't help but look at Chen Yuan. I thought about it in my heart. With his identity background, it is true that there is strength to play cards that do not follow common sense. The price in my heart is 1 billion. But previous financing failed. The other party is only willing to pay 100 million. I hope that Mr. Yin will not be so ruthless in bargaining. Then Yu Manqing put his hands on the beach. Straightforward, the side of the road is always quick to talk. Then I'll open my mind. Our company is currently valued at 1 billion. As soon as this remark came out, Chen Yuan's face immediately changed. He couldn't help but exclaim something strangely. 10 billion. When Yu Manqing heard this, her heart suddenly felt a little bottomless. Does Mr. Yin also think that this valuation is too high? Can be immediately followed. Chen Yuan suddenly put on an indifferent look. Opened his mouth again. Only 10 billion. You've been messing with me for a long time. Just say it. As soon as this remark came out, Yu Manqing was immediately shocked to tell the truth on the spot. He felt like his mind was a little messy. 10,000 alpacas galloped by. Between Manqing's shocked expression, Chen Yuan couldn't help but laugh like this. How about I pay 1 billion to buy 49% of your company's shares? But I have a condition. As soon as I heard this, Yu Nanjing was suddenly blindfolded. This Mr. Yin actually took the initiative to increase the valuation and send me money. Double the price yourself? But he had to make a deal. What conditions? The more you think about it, the more crooked it becomes. Does he want to do that with me? No, I was all open to the thought of this. Yu Manjing's cheeks suddenly flushed. But it seems that some rich people have a special fetish. What is the Oedipus plot called? And Chen Yuanjian didn't speak for a long time in Nanjing. He came to Nanjing's ear. Whisper my condition. It is to transfer the shares to Qin Bingshue's name. As soon as this remark came out, Yu Nanjing, who was still fantasizing just now, instant surprise. What did you say? Do you want to give 100,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 to Qin Bingxue? Men are not only dissolute and uninhibited, and without any pretense. Frankly admit that I want them all. Just now, Chen Yin said, Carp can be bought for 1 billion. 49% stake in technology. But the only requirement is, the equity owner will be transferred to Qin Bingshue's name. After completing the payment, Chen Yuan walked out of Mr. Yu's office, and Qin Bingxue, who was holding coffee and preparing to go in. I saw Chen Yuan walking out. He couldn't help but secretly suppress that this was the end of the conversation. So fast Qin Bingxue. Seeing this, he couldn't help but ask Chen Yuan with some curiosity. How did you talk to our boss? And Chen Yuan said, suddenly showed a meaningful expression. It's okay to open your mouth. Do your best with your talents. It is estimated that I will be able to get a promotion and a salary increase soon. But Qin Bingxue suddenly asked in a serious tone. I didn't think about a promotion or a raise. I would like to ask you how you plan to do it. And Chen Yuan was a little confused. What are you going to do? Qin Bingxue immediately became angry when she heard this. He immediately said with a serious face, the Xiao Ruoyu outside. Don't think I can't see your relationship. I ask you, Xiao Ruoyu and Zhao Yuqi, who are you going to choose? Marky is genuine to you. After speaking, Qin Bingxue suddenly became gloomy. Isn't that a question for me? What to do with him? But Chen Renwenian suddenly grinned. Why should I choose? Followed by, Chunren laughed out loud. I'll do it all. Chenren didn't intend to disguise. He didn't hide it. He pierced brightly. Zaz Tantan. Hearing Chan Ren's answer, Qin Bingxue couldn't help but feel like 5 thunders were thundering. He immediately frowned and gritted his teeth. You said you wanted it. And Chen Yin does not intend to explain and cover up. He immediately put on a scumbag look. That's right. Isn't it okay? Qin Bingxue is completely blown up now. You can do it. You can say such a brute. I still felt it at the time. But Chen Yin interrupted with a smile on his face. What do you think? Didn't you already know that I like sticky flowers? Immediately afterwards, Chen Yuan approached Qin Bingxue. So proud that you know I'm scum. You threw a hug on me yesterday. And let me take you home. I think you're quite conflicted. You have to really like me. Why don't you dare to admit it generously? He also asked me who I was going to choose. Speaking of which, Chen Yin suddenly stared at Qin Bingshue's face. Teasing. Why don't you ask me if I'll pick you? And if you really want to protect Zhao Yuqi, you shouldn't have seduced me like that yesterday. Wanyan Qin Bingshue's pupils suddenly shook. Chen Yuan's words can be said to hit the soul, tear him off hard. The last fig leaf on the body. Immediately afterwards, Chen Yuan raised his eyebrows. Speak again emotionally. I feel like I'm more open than you are. Who are you to teach me? After all that is said. Chen Yuan turned around directly. By show, when you figure it out, look for me again. Don't send it later. Chen Yuan left the Jin Mao Tower alone. He couldn't help but feel this feeling of pointing at the school flower's nose and scolding. It's comfortable. Kuan Yin has completely grasped the initiative this time. I'm used to you when you're hot and cold. It's completely vented. Meanwhile, Qin Bingxue had already fallen into deep thought. Am I really that hypocritical? I really wasn't in a position to lecture him. Far away. It is equivalent to pointing at Qin Bingshue's nose and scolding him for hypocrisy. No one had ever said that before. Qin Bingxue didn't realize it either. But at this moment, he suddenly couldn't refute. Just when Qin Bingxue lost his soul. When you are absent-minded. A colleague who was walking towards the conference room suddenly reminded. Xiao Xue, why are you still standing here? Mr. Yu held an emergency meeting of all employees. Let's go. Wanyan Qin Bingxue immediately came back to his senses. Muttered secretly. Something happened to the all-staff emergency meeting code. Is the financing talk collapsed? This sudden staff meeting was sudden. The group of little quacks whispered. Why did you suddenly have a meeting? Or an all-hands meeting? I'm afraid the company is going to be yellow. Disbanded in situ. And Qin Bingxue, who was familiar with his total temperament. I can't help but secretly can't make enemies. Mr. Yu has always done things in a disciplined manner. What the hell are you going to do this time? It makes people panic. That's when it happened. Yu Manjing suddenly stood up. Announce, everyone, be still. Meeting today. The main announcement is a new personnel appointment. Next up is the vice president of the company. It will be held by Ms. Qin Bingxue. As soon as the words fell, there are more than 300 employees in the audience. Qi Shushu set his eyes on Qin Bingxue, and Qin Bingxue himself was also fierce. He couldn't believe it himself. A new employee who has just joined the company. How can he be able to be from a small assistant? Step into the position of vice president of the company. Men just spent 1 billion yuan. Actually gave the goddess of ice and snow a preview. Just now, Yu Manqing suddenly convened an emergency meeting and announced the appointment. Please Bing Xue as the vice president of Carp Technology. As soon as this remark came out, Qin Bingxue was immediately stunned. A little assistant yourself actually stepped into the position of vice president of the company. Immediately, he hurriedly asked my mother, Vice President, why are you the department director on the side? Immediately loudly objected. That's right. Xiaoqin only joined the company last month. He can serve as vice president. On which round to get him in line? Mr. Yu's appointment was too hasty. I was not convinced by Manqing. Suddenly took the information handed by Xiao Gaga. At the same time, he said that although Xiaoqin has little qualifications, but the ability is outstanding. You can't even think of it. How much he has contributed to the company. He then transferred the share agreement. Unleashed in front of everyone. Again, he said that it was an equity agreement. He is now the company's second largest shareholder. 49%. He brought 1 billion capital injection into our company. Do you still have questions? As soon as this remark came out, the audience was shocked. Yu Manqing's words were like stormy waves. Shocked the audience. Yu Manqing couldn't help but secretly miss this matter in her heart. What is the plot of the Overlord? 10000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000 I'm going to fight with you for this man. Meanwhile, Xiao Gaga and the company couldn't help but whisper, 10 billion. The company doesn't necessarily have to be worth so much when it's packaged and sold. How did he do it? What a human being is indecent. Xiaoqin is so powerful. Is it too late for me to add him as a friend? Immediately afterwards, Yu Manqing waved his hand. The bold announcement arrived. If you don't have any opinions. The appointment was thus decided. By the way, I will tell you all. Because of the new injection of youth in the middle of the year, everyone is rewarded with dividends. Let's all applaud the violin. And Qin Bingxue. At this moment, I can't hear Yu Manjin's speech for a few times. He thought to himself, almost sluggishly. 100000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000 shares. But before leaving the company, he didn't even mention it at all. Qin Bing's heart was suddenly confused. A bold idea could not help but float in his heart. Could it be that what he really likes is me? After all, a boy to a girl. If it weren't for the deep affection, how could he be willing to spend so much money for you? Immediately, Qin Bingxue became more and more affirmative. What he really wanted was me. He likes me. Immediately afterwards, Qin Bingshue's eyes were red. Ran straight out of the conference room. He was now finally sure that Chen Yuan liked him. Chen Yuan loved him. It's just because of this boy. Ken silently gave everything for him. Qin Bingshue's originally suppressed emotions in her heart. It erupted at this moment. The only thing he wants to do right now, it was to fly to Chun Ren's side. In the blink of an eye, the system frantically played the piano. Ice and snow favored Du Jiaowu's question. All at once, it soared to 95 points. Qin Bingxue, the number 8 dog-licking object, was detected. Successfully exceeded 95 points of favorability towards the host. Successfully transformed into a host-licking dog. Congratulations to the host for the successful counterattack. Rewards 35 enhancement points. Gain skill fighting mastery. The number 8 dog-licking object consumed a total of 1 billion yuan in dog-licking gold. The host will be rewarded with 100 million yuan. Listen to a series of system prompts in your head. Xin Yuan couldn't help but secretly rejoice. Sure enough, it was a counterattack. There are too many strategically spent coins smashing the wall. Smashing hard will only make people think you are superficial. Installing forks makes people more vigilant. Chen Yuan made a roundabout wave this time. Forks are loaded with a slow and light hand. That way it won't be offensive. Instead, they think you're giving in silence. There is not a single woman able to resist this silent devotion. And yet at this moment, Chun Ye's mobile phone rang suddenly. After seeing that it was a high-hanging call, Chen Yuan couldn't help but secretly suppress it. He actually took the initiative to call me. After connecting the phone, immediately there was a cry from above. Admitted it, and immediately hurriedly asked, "What's wrong?" Still crying and crying. Hanging high and crying without passing. Then he opened his mouth and said that public opinion had reversed again. Several of his big female stars have stood up. Three-dimensional. Director Tiger Yi. Now the internet is scolding me. But I'm obviously innocent. Woo, this is a word. Chen Yuan was stunned for a moment. This can be reversed. The two prints went out and were reversed. Immediately, Chen Yuan's face turned ugly. This special and the next 4 caught a B. What is the difference between counter-killing? When I think of the situation of high-hanging, Chen Yuan immediately said with a serious smile on his face. Okay, stop crying. I'll help you out. Men in order to help female stars. And came to the slum to ask for help from insiders. I didn't expect it. Little Gaga, who actually knelt down to be his adopted son. Just now, Gao Shinying cried to Chun. The source called to say that public opinion had reversed. And Chen Yuan immediately said, "The next step is to take care of it yourself." Wang, who is also called Tiger Master, a big man in the film and television industry. It is said that this person likes to make use of the resources at hand. Unspoken female artist. But there was never a stone hammer. But the main reason for this reversal of public opinion, it was several popular actresses who gave the tiger a platform. One of the most famous is the introduction of Fang Jingyuan. After hearing this, Chen Yuan couldn't help but feel a little depressed about Fang Jingyuan. Is there still so much energy? Zhang Haoyan paused. He explained that Fang Jingyuan was proud. I like to do public charity. The public image is very positive. Speaking of this, Zhang Haoyan couldn't help but take a sip of coffee. Explained that the Tiger Master was able to turn the tables this time, almost entirely by his influence. Immediately afterwards, Zhang Haoyan frowned. A meaningful smile was revealed. That's why I think I'm going to bring down the Tiger Master. Come up with a trick. As soon as I heard this, Chen Yuan couldn't help but be a little confused. When the guitar was called, he hurriedly asked what the trick was. And Zhang Haoyan, who had been prepared, suddenly, a piece of paper was handed over. At the same time, he said, I have several private investigators. They investigated and believed. This person should have the black material of the Tiger Master in his hands. Just find this person. Maybe you can easily bring down the Tiger Master. Then Chen Yuan followed the above address. I came to the number 28th Street building of Huaihai East Road. Look at the dilapidated buildings in front of you. Chen Yuan couldn't help frowning. Spit on. What kind of person would work in such a place? Just as Chen Yuan walked towards room 305. Suddenly, I heard the sound of a red crane. You said this month last month. This month says next month. You're doing charity when we do. Chen Yuan winching hurriedly walked to the back of the door. Check out what's inside. When the guitar he looked weird in his heart. How could it be him? I saw Han Xiaojiang scolding with a group of younger brothers. Yang Jinsi, if you don't pay back today, I'll lend you a hand. Do you understand? Seeing this, Yang Jinsi hurriedly pleaded, and Han Xiao begged. You're in grace for a few days. I'm working on a new movie. This film is definitely going to be a hit. When the time comes, I will repay you tenfold when I borrow your money. Han Xiaojiang immediately squatted down and was born. Said in a cold voice, should I lend you some more money? I heard that you are a big tiger who has offended the film and television industry. Yi is so down. You still want to make a comeback. Yang Jinsi saw that this was not good. Hurriedly spoke again. Han Xiao. My new film really has a lot of potential. You believe me, but Han Xiaojiang stood up directly. Pick up a baseball bat and smash it. At the same time, irritated to the movie. Lao Tzu will let you have a long memory today. As soon as the words fell, a fist slammed out from the side, smashed directly on Han Xiaojiang's face. The punch was very powerful. Even Han Xiaojiang, who is 200 pounds, all of them flew directly to the bomb at a distance of several meters. Inexplicably beaten, Han Xiaojiang immediately got up angrily and scolded. Who's looking for death, right? Chen Yuanza condescended and said silently, looking for death. Even if your father has 3 waters. I don't dare to be so presumptuous in front of me. Han Xiaojiang, I advise you to be cautious for a few years. Don't cause trouble for the family. And as soon as Han Xiaojiang heard this, I couldn't help but curse in my heart. Why is this play God? Mr. Yin was born in film and television. The Chen family is the contemporary heir of the Chen family. My dad told me never to provoke him again. The power behind him is far greater than our family and soul. Come to think of this, Han Xiaojiang was destroyed in an instant. He hurriedly was so kind that this is not my Uncle Chen. Since you're here, it's time for me to go. Don't send me either. I'll just go. That's it, and the voice just fell. Han Xiaojiang immediately took a group of younger brothers out of the door, for fear that the slow runner will make the dust far away angry. See this scenario. Yang Jinsi couldn't help but secretly get excited. This Han family is famous in Seoul. How this young man can make Han Xiaojiang so afraid. If I had that kind of backing, what are you afraid of? That's when it happened. Chen Yuan suddenly turned around, said to Yang Jinsi, the people who got in the way are gone. You're Yang Jinsi. I have something you need help with. Wanyan Yang Jinsi suddenly raised her eyebrows. He interrupted and said that he would talk about it later. I have a small request. Before Chen Yuan could open his mouth, Yang Jinsi kowtowed to Chen Yuan suddenly. At the same time, he said to Daddy Chen, "Take me as an example. I'll help you with your old age in the future." The man finally got the ability to bring down the film and television industry. Evidence of the big guys. And also harvest one. Art with a love for art. Just now, Chen Yuan provided clues through Zhang Haoyin. Successfully found Yang Xijin. And give him cover. And Yang Xijin's strength is extraordinary. Immediately decided to let him be a pair. Later, after Yang Xijin learned Chen Yuan's purpose. Don't be surprised by the alien godfather. Do you want to bring down the Tiger Master? As soon as Chen Yuan heard this, he immediately blew up and said, "I'm not your godfather. But I did come to you for this purpose." Yang Xijin heard this. "I can't help but secretly analyze it in my heart. He knew I was hiding. But this man looks very powerful. Something can indeed be given to him as well. Come to think of this." Yang Xijin immediately nodded in acknowledgement. "I do have something here that can bring down the Tiger Master. But I have one condition." Chen Yuan immediately looked so happy and bold that he talked about it. "The price can be opened casually." But Yang Xijin suddenly sent the table violently. Excited to get up to "I don't want money. I want your godfather. You invest in me to make movies. I'm going to prove it to them." Where did Yang Xijin fall? You can get up anywhere. As soon as this remark came out, Chen Yuan couldn't help but secretly suppress it. Is there such an artistic pursuit? Is worthy of being a former genius director. I can help him. That is, Chen Yuan smiled slightly. Simply agreed. I just asked Kaohsiung Eagle to set up a film and television company. When the time comes, you go to him. If you don't have enough money, just ask me. Seeing that Chen Yuan agreed to come down, Yang Xijin immediately became excited. The most extreme guards are dead. With your godfather, your son will be relieved. Immediately afterwards, Yang Xijin took out a USB flash drive. Again, this is my secret weapon. Don't talk about the Tiger Master when this thing is released. The entire entertainment industry is going to be earthquaked. And Chen Yuan Jin Yang Xijin inserted the USB flash drive into the computer. Then opened the folder skillfully. I can't help but feel depressed. Is this the video of your big killer? Immediately, Yang Xijin hurriedly nodded. Filial piety is right. Godfather, you can click on it and understand. Then Chen Yuan clicked on the video. He wanted to see what it was so powerful. But the next picture is a little wide-eyed. I saw that the video was a little obese. Probably a middle-aged man who smoked or so. I'm discussing life with a beautiful woman in her 20s. Explore ideals. The person in the video, Chen Yuan, recognized it at a glance. Immediately, he raised his eyebrows. After opening the Dao Shadow, Jin Yuan actually had this kind of relationship with the Tiger Master. It's too awesome to use this kind of thing. You can knock them out. Yang Xijin Wanyin hurriedly said, filial piety, where dare you? Extortion is a crime. And I don't have much backing. Maybe it will evaporate from the world before you know it. Such strong evidence. Just what the dust edge needs. Immediately, he enthusiastically put his hand on Yang Xijin's shoulder. Filial piety is fine. Now I'll cover you. There is this thing in the Tiger Master and Fang Jingyuan's death. Meanwhile, in the villa where Gao Hangyin is located, he was already on the verge of being blown up. Looking at the scolding that kept swiping the screen in the iron, he was immediately furious. How many sailors did Hu Yi and Fang Jingyuan invite? I've been scolding me for 3 days. And it doesn't stop. Then Gao shinnying directly threw the phone on the table. Forget it. It's a big deal. Just quit the entertainment industry. I'm so stupid. Not their opponents at all. However, at this moment, the mobile phone suddenly rang. It was Chen Yuan who called him. After seeing that it was Chen Yuan's phone, Gaoheng couldn't help but be a little depressed by this guy. Why do you call it this time? After answering the phone in the high hanging, immediately, Chen Yuan's anxious voice came out. You scold at home. Are you alone at home? I'm going to look for you at your house now. And Gao Xining responded with a confused face. In the next second, Chen Yuan hung up the phone directly. Gao Hangin couldn't help but muttered secretly. Chun plays this erotic fetish. What are you trying to do with me? He also asked me if I was home alone. Come to think of this. Gao Xiaonin immediately panicked. Could it be that he finally couldn't help it? Want to get my body? Men are behind the scenes and in control. Even smashed 2 billion again to make a movie for Gao Xiaonin. Just now, Chen Yuan suddenly called Gao Xiaonin. Asked him if he is home alone. Suddenly I felt it with a high moan. Chen Yuan wanted to burn himself. Soon Izumi. The eye is with Yang. Sijin came to the outside of Gao Xuanyun's villa. When the guitar starts to ring the doorbell constantly. Listen to the non-stop ringing doorbell. Immediately, Gao Xianyun secretly complained that he came so soon. I'm really in a hurry. It seems that he is no different from other men. However, just after the door was opened, found Chen Yuan, also with a man with raunchy glasses. He didn't secretly suppress it, but there was still a person. Who is this? Immediately, Gao Xiaonin was full of anger and ate and drank Chen Yuan. You rotten man. What did you think of me? Also bring people. And Chen Yuan, who didn't know why, immediately began to introduce. Let's not talk about that yet. Introduce this director Yang Sijin. This time, it is all up to him to bring down the Tiger Master. Wanyan Gao Xiaoning hurriedly greeted Yang Sijin. At the same time, I secretly said in my heart that I was ashamed. It turns out that he is not what I thought he was. It's really trying to help me find a way. Then Gao Xiaoning looked at Chun Rin's handsome figure. I couldn't help but sigh secretly. This feeling of having someone to rely on. It's pretty good. Then Yang Sijin will. The evidence of the Tiger Master was played to Gao Hangin. After reading it again, he immediately exclaimed, It's so exciting. I didn't expect Fang Jinyuan to be this kind of person. Immediately, Chen Yuan spoke again and said that there was this thing. Hu Yi and Fang Jinyuan are already local chickens and dogs. Don't be afraid. I'll give you 2 billion. Get this done as soon as possible. Then set up a film and television company. Director Yang can also have funds. It's time to make the movie you want to make. Win-win. At the time when Gao Xiaonin and Yang Sijin were familiar with each other, Chen Yuan secretly rejoiced. Spend 2 billion in one go. There are also film and television companies that can continue to burn money. Gao Hang, this woman, I'm bound to the team. Soon a piece suddenly appeared on the hot search. Explosive headlines. Hurts. However, the video of Hu Yi and Fang Jinyuan was left out. This video is top-notch. The media immediately surrounded Fang Jinyuan. Could you please explain the video that broke out today? What is the relationship between you and the director Tiger Yi? And Fang Jinyuan did not respond to this matter at all. Escorted by the assistant, he hurriedly hid back in the car. After getting inside the car, Fang Jinyuan immediately frowned. Gnashing your teeth to whom? Who's messing with me? How could there be a video of that time? Meanwhile, inside the Rideau Hotel, Tiger Master is still the same as before, dating all kinds of beautiful women. Just when Wang Hu was busy, 2 police officers suddenly broke down the door. Into the interrupted Dao Wang Hu right. Now I have received a report. Say that you are suspected of molesting a number of young girls. Please come back with us for an investigation. Then Hu Yi was handcuffed by the police. And then in full view, was escorted back to the bureau directly. At this time, the Tiger Master was no longer calm. Thought of all kinds of black material that was exposed. Immediately, his face was ugly. It's all over at the same time. Inside a high-hanging personal press conference, the moderator spoke loudly about women. The unspoken rules of the high-hanging chant are reversed again. The truth is revealed. High-hanging groans indicate that there is important news to announce. Then the high-hanging chant was born filial piety. Today, I invite you to attend the press conference. It was to make an announcement. I'm with director Yang Sijin. A new film and television company was formed. Next, the company will invest a budget of 2 billion to prepare for director Yang's chip. Let's wait and see. As soon as this remark came out, suddenly, the audience was shocked. Good guy, 2 billion. It's really rich. At this time, the salted fish turned over. I don't know which Chable is behind him. At this time, the Lake University campus. Chen Yuan was after the arrangements were made. He returned to school alone. Chen Yuan watched the live broadcast of the high-hanging silver press conference. I can't help but be secretly proud of the island. How it feels. I'm kind of a behind-the-scenes boss right now, but it's a good feeling. And Li Yong. At this time, he walked out of the boys' dormitory building angrily. At the same time, he scolded Chen Yuan, "You are really a dog. It's okay to mess around at school." Unexpectedly, Xiao Ruoyu, the goddess of electric houses. "I don't think you'll die this time." Immediately, Li Yong dialed Zhao Yuqi's phone. At the same time, he smiled and said hello. "Is it Zhao Yuqi? I'm Li Yong from the Department of Physical Education. About Chen Yuan. I have something to tell you." Blew up. Chen Yuan's bound objects. It was actually Qi by chance. It's just been a moment to get together. Li Yong, who already had a grudge against Chen Yuan, actually dialed Zhao Yuqi's phone. Speaking of Chen Yuan's bad words. After Li Yong finished calling Zhao Yuqi, Zhao Yuqi hurriedly returned to Hu Dazhong. Seeing that Zhao Yuqi was really angry this time, Qin Mingming hurriedly said, "Qi, slow down. Is this going to confront Shinrin? Just because of a phone call?" Wanyan Zhao Yuqi immediately stopped. Explained. Li Yong started with his family's household registration book. The gambling curse said that Shinren was messing with flowers and grass inside and outside the school. He also pried his girlfriend away. It doesn't sound like a fake. I know that too. Because Li Yong went to find Chen Yuan with a phone call. It's so lush. But this time, Chen Yuan really didn't look for me much. Speaking of which, Zhao Yuqi said with a sad expression, "I'm a little uneasy." Seeing this, Qian Longming hurriedly opened his mouth and comforted, "I understand. Such a rich and excellent man. Everyone suffers from gains and losses. But Chen Yuan seems to be a dedicated man. I don't think it's going to mess around." That's when it happened. Xiao Quack in front of the two suddenly exclaimed, "Look at Sister Qin Shui again. Let's look for that Chen Yuan again." What luck. As soon as the words fell, Zhao Yuqi found out. Qin Bingxue, who has graduated. It's actually downstairs in the boys' dormitory. Seems to be waiting for someone. Zhao Yuqi after seeing Qin Bingxue. It immediately froze. At this time, Qin Bingxue was fantasizing to herself. What would you say to him? If Chen Yuan really likes me, do I say yes or no? Then Zhao Yuqi came behind Qin Bingxue. Said hello. And Qin Bingxue saw Zhao Yuqi as soon as she saw it. Immediately, my heart was terrible. How did Kiki come? And Zhao Yuqi asked inaudibly without a suppressed face. Senior Sister Qin, didn't you graduate? How did you go back to school? Don't tell me when you come back. Qin Bingxue couldn't help but say something tonight. His cheeks flushed, and he hurriedly explained, I'm here to find Chen Yuan. Don't get me wrong. I came to talk to him about business. After that, Qin Bingxue couldn't help but secretly say bad in her heart. I shouldn't have mentioned the name Chen Yuan. Marty must have been suspicious. And Zhao Yuqi after listening to Qin Bingxue's explanation, I couldn't help but muttered secretly. Hasn't Sister Qin Shui always been disgusted with Chen Yuan? Why talk to him about cooperation? When did the two of them know each other so well? That's when it happened. A limousine suddenly came aside. Drove over. It stopped directly at the bottom of the boys' dormitory. Luxury cars worth millions have appeared. Immediately give the attention of the people around you. Attracted. Then the door opened. The first to poke out of it was an immortal. The Yu clan looked at Xiao Ruoyu who got out of the luxury car. The little quacks around him suddenly exclaimed, My day to shoot a TV series. It's so beautiful, it's too foul. Who laughed and the flowers were eclipsed. Even Zhao Yuqi and Qin Mingming couldn't help but admire. What a beautiful brother and sister. And it's so temperamental. And Qin Bingxue suddenly secretly panicked. How did he come? It's over, and Mars hits the Earth, and that's when it's over. Qin Bingxue suddenly came to the three of them. Hello. May I ask Chen Yuan, a sophomore in the Department of Literature of Hu University. Is it to live here? As soon as this remark came out, Zhao Yuqi was immediately stunned. He frowned and asked, "Are you looking for Chen Yuan? What do you have to do with each other?" The heart of the text is as delicate as a hair weakened with. Immediately raised an eyebrow. Then he began to look at Zhao Yuqi, followed by, Xiao Ruoyu put out a pair of driving bullets in the main palace. I don't know what the relationship between you and Chen Yuan is. Seeing this, Zhao Yuqi's face instantly darkened. Stared at Xiao Ruoyu closely. He understood immediately. The woman in front of him was his enemy. Saw that the two began to look at each other angrily in public. Qin Mingming on the side hurriedly said that, "Let's find a place to sit. It's not an option here." Then the crowd moved. Inside a cafe next to Huda. For people were seated. The atmosphere suddenly became full of gunpowder. However, no one was the first to break the results. After a while, wait a little impatiently to weaken and take the lead. Since he opened his mouth, he didn't speak. Then I'll do it first. Then he showed an inexplicable smile. Looked at Zhao Yuqi with interest. Said directly, I like Chen Yuan. Wanyan Zhao Yuqi's face immediately changed. Originally, he had always regarded himself as Chen Yuan's girlfriend. At this time, he was questioned as a junior. The female incarnation is the commander of the 3 armed forces. Advise on revenge on Chen Yuan for the 3 top beauties. Just now, 4 women unexpectedly gathered. Xiao Ruoyu was the first to break the silence. Directly asked Zhao Yuqi if he liked Chen Yuan. As soon as this remark came out, Zhao Yuqi's face immediately changed abruptly. He didn't expect that. Xiao Ruoyu actually put on a posture of the main palace. Question yourself. Immediately afterwards, Zhao Yuqi frowned slightly, stared at Xiao Ruoyu and said, Yes, I like Chen Yuan. Chen Yuan likes me too. What's wrong with breaking the law? Xiao Ruo and Wen Yin immediately smiled slightly. By Shoudao likes you. Don't tease me. Chen Yuan chased me for 5 years. When I was in high school, I was beaten for me. It's okay for a little sister to make emotional mistakes, but dare to admit it. Zhao Yuqi. Wen Yin exploded in an instant. It's not that I didn't. And Qin Mingming on the side said angrily, Do you mean that our Yuqi is a junior? Although Chen Yin has fought for you, but he gave Yuqi tens of millions of villas. There are also 500 million pianos. So what do you have? As soon as this remark came out, Xiao Ruoyu's face immediately changed abruptly. He couldn't help but secretly say Villa Piano in his heart. Chen Yuan is the mysterious tyrant who took pictures of the crystal piano. Did he really pedal in 2 boats? Immediately, Xiao Ruoyu shook her lips lightly. I secretly decided in my heart that it wouldn't work. How can I lose to them? Immediately afterwards, Xiao Ruoyu stepped forward. Is the proud 500 million a lot? Chen Yuan gave me an office building, worth more than 2 billion. Who do you think Chen Yuan likes more? As soon as this remark came out, Zhao Yuqi suddenly felt a little empty. He muttered without a whisper. Did Chen Yuan really cheat? Did he lie to me about what he said before? That's when it happened. Qin Bingxue suddenly opened her mouth and interrupted. Chen Yuan also sent me something. Speaking of this, Qin Bingxue suddenly paused. He whispered to Zhao Yuqi actually. Chen Yuan also gave me shares worth 1 billion. Kiki, I'm sorry. Suddenly, the 4 of them fell into it together. In silence. They never dreamed of it. Chen Yuan was so attentive. Zhao Yuqi took the lead and couldn't bear it. He immediately picked up his phone in annoyance. Said, I'm going to call Chen Yuan to ask for an understanding. Why is cheating so careful? Why do you have to be in a relationship with me? But at this moment, Zhao Yuqi suddenly stopped dialing. Then he spoke again and waited. Chen Yan. He seems to be from beginning to end. Haven't been sure of a boyfriend or girlfriend relationship with me. And Xiao Ruoyu on the side heard this. I can't help but say yes. Every time I say I want to confirm the relationship, Chen Yuan will talk about him left and right. Qin Mingming, who was a bystander. Immediately, his face was full of serious analysis, and it was no wonder. He wasn't sure about the relationship. You can walk between different women. It will not yet be morally condemned. Chen Yuan's thinking is very calculus. As soon as the words fell, Xiao Ruoyu immediately got up and was about to leave. At the same time, I will go and talk to Chen Yuan to understand. I'm Xiao. If you share a man with no other woman. Qian Mingming saw this. Hurriedly opened his mouth to stop this sister and said slowly. Immediately afterwards, Qian Mingming's face turned straight. He spoke again. You don't think the breakup is cheap? Chin face. Relying on money, he wantonly plays with girls' feelings. He deserved death. Xiao Ruoyu heard this. I couldn't help frowning slightly and asked, is that what he said? But don't break up. Could it really be that he couldn't stab? Has already incarnated the military Qian Mingming. He hurriedly whispered to the three people. What is the capital of playing with people's hearts? It's money. He's so rich. Even if you cut him off, he had nothing to lose. Another person continues to lie to you, first of all, and then like that. After sharing your plan with three people, Qian Mingming suddenly showed a smug smile. As long as you do what I say, you should be able to get your revenge. After speaking, Qian Mingming suddenly said righteously, continue to pretend to be stupid and sweet. Pretend not to know anything. And then spend his money hard to the death. Let him go bankrupt and reap the consequences. As long as Chen Yuan's money is spent, he could no longer be a demon. Xiao Ruoyu immediately accepted this suggestion. Even if Chen Yuan sent the mansion to him, he's still going to join the program. And the same is true for Qin Bingxue, although he became the vice president of the company. But they are also ready to consume the dust together. Zhao Yuqi is even more true. He felt the plan. It's just sweating for the whole group of women. The man was suddenly asked for investment by the schoolgirl. But he wasn't disgusted. He even said that he wanted to let the school spend money on the soil. Just now, after the women agreed on a front, Zhao Yuqi and Qian Mingming returned to the villa. At this time, Zhao Yuqi was after editing the text message. Suddenly it was hard to see if you were really suitable. Mingming, I always feel that I take the initiative to ask for things. It's a bit bad. And Qian Mingming said seriously. Pity for the scumbag is right. Cruel yourself. You just send a message to Chen Yuan as I said. Seeing Zhao Yuqi's stunned face, Qian Mingming directly snatched his mobile phone. No, I can't. I'll write it for you. After a while, Chen Yuan's mobile phone rang. It was a message from Zhao Yuqi. And Chen Yuan saw the message coming from his mobile phone. I can't help but secretly make the enemy not fall into the situation. Chairman Zhao sent me a message. After turning on your phone, the message pops up immediately. Zhao Yuqi said that he recently wanted to try his hand at entrepreneurship. I want to make my own live streaming platform. After reading the message, Chen Yuan couldn't help but feel a little weird. How can a good end be engaged in a live broadcast platform? This means that I will be asked to invest money. Immediately, Chen Yuan raised his eyebrows. Secretly happy to be enlightened. Or is it under the command of others? But I happen to have a big cat TV in my hand. I don't know who to give it to. Then Shun Ren replied to Biki quickly. Your thoughts coincide with mine. I acquired a broken one a while ago. Produced by the live broadcast platform Big Cat TV. Ready to be given to you. Being a streamer is not a long-term solution. Should have their own business. I'm ready to invest 5 billion in you. And Ming Ming is after reading the news. Immediately it was blindfolded. Is he going to give you a live broadcast company? Zhao Yuqi was also scared stupid, as if it was like this. It will also invest 500,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000, Admit that he has thought of everything a long time ago. Preparing for a rainy day is helping me with my career layout. And the former Ming Ming looked at the text message with a gloomy face. There was silence. At this time, the more Zhao Yuqi thought about it, the more moved she became. Although I know he's scum, but he's really caring. It's not just about how I feel. It also silently helped me grow. And Qinming on the side is strong and strong. Hurriedly interrupted Kiki. Don't be moved. Hurry up and get things done. 500000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000laughed and said that Chen Yuan is not such a person. He's very trustworthy. Wanyan Qian Mingming immediately began to type rapidly. At the same time, the promise of solemnity is the promise. Don't draw a cake, and you'll be moved to death. I'll add fuel to the fire. After Qian Mingming's news was sent, Chen Yuan immediately said that he would not regret it. Let people give it tomorrow. Zhao Yuqi handles the company's takeover procedures. After seeing this message, Qian Mingming couldn't wait to swallow the phone alive. At the same time, he was secretly annoyed and said, "Why? I can't meet such a generous man. I'm willing to share it with others." Meanwhile, in the boys' dormitory, Chen Yuan suddenly felt, today's Zhao Yuqi is obviously a little abnormal. After thinking about it for a while, Chen Yuan couldn't help but secretly miss the enemy. This person who used Zhao Yuqi's mobile phone to talk to me. Definitely not me. The tone and tone of voice are unfamiliar. Who is it at this moment? Chen Yuan suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Recalled the money Ming Ming who was accidentally bound at the beginning. Immediately he guessed. 9 times out of 10, it is Qian Mingming's green tea egg. However, Chen Yuan Xian secretly rejoiced. Since you guys want to spend money, I'll let you spend enough. Spend until you vomit. Meanwhile, Xiao Ruoyu also returned home, and he told his mother about today's experience. After Fang Xiao listened, I couldn't help but suppress it. Did you mean Chen Yuan split his legs? Xiao Ruoyu immediately nodded angrily. That's right. A few of us girls got it right today. Discover him at the same time. I'm developing relationships with several girls. Yu Fangxiao was a little incredulous. Really? But are these girls boyfriend and girlfriend? Chen Yuan doesn't look like such a person. But Xiao Ruoyu shook her head. Although the Tao is not determined, but almost. Why did the phone ring? Who's in the group? Send a message. Yu Fangxiao's words were not stunned. And then some curious about what group. Xiao Ruyu's picked up the phone directly. Explained. This is a group of several girls pulled by us. Inside, they discussed how to punish Chen Yuan. Let him gain more than he loses. After opening the group chat of the Avengers, Zhao Yuqi, I would like to mention the information of Big Cat TV and 5 billion investment. Immediately in sight. After reading this message, Xiao Ruoyu immediately scolded the good guy in her heart. Give 5 billion directly. Why? Zhao Yuqi is better than me. I gave him some books on his family background and appearance. But Yu Fangxia suddenly reminded her. Stao Yu, listen to what your mother says. I think you should be a few women. The children joined forces to deceive. As soon as the words fell, Xiao Ruoyu was immediately shocked by this sentence. Immediately, she looked at Yu Fangxia with a puzzled face. Speak up and say, Mom. What did you say? Man. Inexplicably received a strange message from Bai Yueguang. Experienced him. It immediately became clear that he was going to take the initiative. Just now, Yu Fangxia learned that Chen Yuan was actually a scumbag. Alert immediately. I think you should. I was deceived by these girls and the fire. Yu Fangxia suddenly recalled the past. He said as he wiped away his tears. Back then, there is a big gap between my family and your father's. I put a lot of effort into it. Finally got this happy marriage. You also see. Before, Chen Yuan wanted to help you get rid of the marriage. It's also a lot of money. Clearly, his background must have been extraordinary. Our family in Seoul is pretty good. But compared with Chen Yuan's background, that's the cold door of the cold door. Your affection for him. There will definitely be some twists and turns. Speaking of which, Yu Fangxia was a little helpless that the man was too powerful. It will be around the women crucian carp. But you have to believe in your own strength. Seeing that Xiao Ruoyu was still hesitating, Yu Fangxia suddenly said with a serious face. Those women kept saying that Chen Yuan was a scumbag. But why didn't they all leave Chen Yuan? Immediately, Yu Fengsha frowned and admonished. Because they all want to get the other person out. Monopoly Chen Yuan, the heir to the hermit's talent.